let us address one of the most unsettling moments in the dance of attraction, the moment a woman's energy shifts. The replies slow down, the warmth recedes, she begins to pull away. For the average man, this is a moment of panic. He allows the passion of anxiety to flood his reason. He believes he must do something, chase harder, explain more, double his efforts to close the gap she has created. He fails to realize that in his frantic attempt to fix the situation, he is surrendering his own sovereignty. From a Stoic perspective, this is not a rejection to be feared. It is a test to be passed. She is testing her own feelings, yes, but more importantly, she is testing the solidity of your character. She is testing the strength of your inner citadel. She is testing whether you are a man governed by his own principles, or a man governed by the desperate need for her approval. The way you respond in that moment says more about your character than 1,000 pleasant conversations ever could. If you respond with neediness or pressure, you fail the test, you lose. But if you respond with a calm, grounded self-possession, if you demonstrate that your peace of mind is not contingent upon her attention, you flip the entire script. You stop looking like the man who needs her, and you start looking like the man who values himself. And that single, powerful shift changes everything. This guide will walk you through the principles of that response. This is not about learning tactics to win her back. It is about learning the discipline to win back control of yourself. It is about forging a character so solid that her silence loses its power over you. And in doing so, your presence gains a power you never thought possible. Mistake 1: chasing her when she pulls back. This is the most common and most fatal mistake men make. It is an instinctual reaction born of panic. She slows down her replies. She stops showing the same excitement. And instead of observing this change with reason, the average man immediately goes into chase mode. Think about it. He doubles his effort. He starts sending more texts, initiating every conversation. He tries to call more often. He asks if something is wrong. He may even show up where she hangs out, hoping for a chance encounter. In his mind, he is demonstrating his commitment. He is trying to save the connection. But in her mind, his actions are communicating something else entirely. It feels like pressure. It feels like a lack of self-control. It feels needy. Imagine you are talking to a woman. Things have been good. Then, she stops responding with her usual warmth. Instead of giving her the space she is clearly signaling she needs, you blow up her phone with texts like, "Hey, did I do something wrong?" Or the dreaded, "Why are you ignoring me?" That energy does not pull her closer. It confirms for her that her decision to pull away was the right one. Here is what a woman actually feels in that moment. When you chase harder, she feels smothered. She sees you not as a confident man who is secure in himself, but as an insecure man who is desperate for her validation. Attraction, in its essence, thrives on the tension of a little space, not on the suffocation of constant pressure. If she pulls back and you immediately chase, she loses respect for you. And once her respect begins to drop, her attraction usually follows close behind. The Stoic man understands this. He sees her withdrawal not as a catastrophe to be fixed, but as an external event to be observed. His first move is not outward, toward her, but inward, toward his own reason. He refuses to be ruled by the passion of fear. The correct move is to step back. You must match her energy. If she is slowing down, you slow down too. If she is creating distance, you allow that distance to exist without trying to frantically fill it. This does not mean ignoring her or playing childish games. It means you are demonstrating, through your calm action, that you are not afraid to live your own life. It shows that your emotional well-being is not hanging by the fragile thread of her attention. A man who does not panic when a woman pulls away communicates a profound strength. He is saying, without words, "I enjoy your presence, but my peace of mind does not require it. I will not chase you to feel good about myself." That quiet, grounded confidence is what makes her question her own decision to pull away. And it is, paradoxically, the one thing that can actually pull her back in. Mistake 2: explaining and talking too much. The second common mistake men make when a woman pulls away is that they try to talk their way back into her interest. When she starts to act distant, a man's anxiety can spike. He feels the urge to fill the growing silence with words. He sends long, rambling texts explaining how he feels. He writes paragraphs about why he likes her so much. He gives speeches about where he thought things were going. Now, let's be real. Do you think that kind of energy makes her want to lean back in? Not at all. What she sees is a man trying to convince her, to persuade her, to logically argue her back into feeling attraction. This makes him look like he is on shaky, uncertain ground. Instead of feeling drawn to him, she feels like she is in control. And the moment she feels that the dynamic has flipped, and she is the one with all the power, her attraction begins to wane. Men forget that a woman does not pull away because of a lack of words. Her distance is rarely a logical problem that can be solved with a better argument. It is about the way she feels around you. And if the vibe is off, your words will not fix it. In fact, the more you try to explain yourself, the more it feels like you are begging for her approval. Think about it. When was the last time a long, desperate text message rekindled a dying spark of attraction? It does not happen. Attraction is emotional, not logical. You cannot talk a woman into feeling something she is already drifting away from. The stronger play, the Stoic play, is to keep it simple. It is to practice a form of verbal temperance. If she pulls back, you match that energy without a long speech. If she does not respond right away, you do not need to send another message explaining why you are still interested. A short, confident reply, when it is appropriate, carries far more weight than an essay trying to justify your existence in her life. The man who can remain calm, say less, and avoid the trap of over-explaining sends a powerful, unspoken signal. He is communicating, I am good, with or without your validation. That is the type of energy women respect. That is the type of energy they are drawn to. It shows control, it shows maturity, and it shows a deep-seated self-assurance. So instead of falling into the trap of talking too much, of trying to reason with an emotion, you must learn to let your silence and your calm actions do the work for you. In these moments, less is always more. Mistake 3: smothering her with attention. When a woman starts to pull away, a lot of men do the exact opposite of what actually works. They double down on attention. They think that if they can just show her how much they care, she will remember what she is missing and come back. So they start calling more, texting more. They want to hang out all the time. They constantly check in to see what is wrong. On the surface, it seems like a logical move. But in reality, it only pushes her further away. Here is why. When a woman is pulling back, she is signaling a need for space. Maybe she is unsure about her feelings. Maybe she is testing you. Or maybe she is genuinely busy and overwhelmed. Whatever the reason, her action is a request for distance. If you rush in and smother her with more attention, you are ignoring her signal. You are not demonstrating your value, you are demonstrating your neediness. And neediness is the fastest way to drain attraction. Think about it. If she is distancing herself and you respond by chasing harder, what message are you sending? You are telling her that she is the prize, and you are the one who is desperate to hold on. That flips the dynamic in a way that makes her lose respect for you. Women do not want to feel like you have nothing else going on in your life besides them. They want to feel like they are being drawn into the compelling world of a man who has his own purpose and his own life. They do not want to feel like they are his life. The key is balance. If she is stepping back, you do not need to be the one to frantically fill that gap with extra attention. You must hold your ground. You must continue to live your life. And you must let her feel the absence of your presence. That space is what creates curiosity. It is what gives her the room to actually miss you. It is what pulls her back in. A man who can resist the urge to overinvest when a woman withdraws is a man who communicates his strength without saying a single word. And trust me, women notice it. When you do not smother her, she starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing me? Why does he seem so calm about this? That shift in her thinking makes her re-evaluate her decision to pull away. And very often, it is the one thing that will bring her right back to you. this time with more respect and more genuine interest than before. Mistake 4. Getting emotional and overreacting. One of the biggest tests a man faces when a woman pulls away is the test of his own emotional composure. It is natural to feel anxious, frustrated, or even insecure when you sense her drifting away. But the problem starts when those feelings, those passions, spill out in an uncontrolled and reactive way. Angry texts, emotional outbursts, constant. We need to talk. Messages. You must understand this. The moment you overreact, you are confirming her doubts. If she was questioning your confidence, your stability, or your ability to handle challenges, seeing you fall apart under a little bit of pressure answers that question for her, and not in your favor. Think of it from her perspective. If she pulls back a little, and you immediately spiral into a storm of panic or anger, it signals to her that your emotions are entirely dependent on her approval. That does not feel attractive or safe to a woman. It feels heavy. It feels unstable. It makes her want even more distance. The strongest move you can make in that moment, the truly stoic move, is to remain calm. Not cold, not rude, but composed. You observe your own feelings of anxiety or frustration, but you do not act on them. You allow them to pass, and you choose to respond with reason. When she senses that you are in control of yourself, even when the situation feels uncertain, it sets you apart from almost every other man. That calmness tells her, this man does not need me to validate him. He is solid, with or without my constant attention. Women pay close attention to this. A man who does not lose his center when she pulls away is a rare and valuable thing. Most men let their fear dictate their actions, and it ends up driving the woman further and further away. This principle of detaching from the outcome is one of the hardest disciplines for any man to master. In the comments, I would be interested to hear your thoughts. How has practicing a form of detachment, of letting go of control, impacted your own peace of mind in relationships? Your insights can help us all grow in this practice. If you can resist the urge to overreact, if you can stay cool while she is being distant, it creates the exact opposite effect of what your fear is telling you will happen. She starts questioning herself instead of questioning you. Attraction thrives on respect, and respect is born from composure. So the next time you feel her pulling away, do not let your emotions control the wheel. Take a breath, slow down, and remind yourself that you do not win her back by panicking. You win her back by remaining grounded. Mistake 5. Trying to control the outcome. When a woman pulls away, a man's instinct is often to try and fix the situation by controlling it. He starts asking for clarity. He pushes for answers. He tries to lock her down with conversations like, "Where do you see this going?" Or, "We need to figure this out right now." On the surface, it might seem like the mature, responsible thing to do, but in reality it often makes things worse. Here is why. Attraction and connection are not built through pressure. They grow in an environment of freedom. When you try to control the outcome, even with good intentions, it does not make her feel secure. It makes her feel trapped. And when a woman feels trapped, she does not lean in. She looks for an escape. Think about it. If she is already feeling unsure about her feelings, pushing her into a high-stakes conversation about commitment will only highlight and amplify her doubts. Instead of remembering the easy, natural connection she liked in the first place, she is now focused on the pressure you are putting on her. And that pressure creates resistance. What actually works is the opposite, a calm detachment from the outcome. Not in a cold or careless way, but in a way that shows her you are not desperate for control. You are okay with however things play out, because you know that your value as a man does not depend on her decision. That kind of quiet, unshakable confidence changes the dynamic completely. When you stop trying to force an outcome, she feels the space to choose you willingly, and that is powerful. Because a woman who chooses you out of genuine desire, not out of guilt, not out of pressure, and not out of your powers of persuasion, will always invest more deeply in the relationship. So if she is pulling away, do not fall into the trap of trying to force answers or chase clarity. Instead, focus on your own center. Let her see that you are a man who does not need to control everything to feel secure. That is what draws her back. Not your attempts to manage the situation, but your ability to stand strong without needing to. Mistake 6: forgetting to put yourself first. This is the foundational mistake from which all the others spring. When a woman pulls away, many men put her needs, her emotions, and her decisions above their own sense of self. It is almost as if they hand over the keys to their own confidence and say, "Here, you decide how valuable I am." That is a dangerous place to be, because the second your sense of worth becomes dependent on her attention, you have already lost control of yourself. Think about it. When she pulls back, you start neglecting your own priorities. You cancel plans with your friends just in case she texts. You stop focusing on your work or your goals because your mind is consumed with what she is doing or thinking. You let your own life shrink. And in doing that, you lose the very qualities that made you attractive to her in the first place. Your ambition, your social life, your focus, your purpose. A woman does not respect a man who abandons himself for her. She respects a man who can care for her deeply, but never at the expense of his own values, his own purpose, or his own growth. If you make her the center of your universe, she will quickly realize she does not want to be there. It is too much pressure, and it signals a weakness, not a strength. This is where you must make a conscious, stoic choice. You must take a step back and remind yourself that her pulling away is not the end of your world. It is not a signal for you to abandon your own path. If anything, it is the exact moment you must double down on yourself. You focus harder on your health, on your goals, on your relationships outside of her. You show her, and more importantly, you show yourself that you are not a man who loses himself just because a woman is unsure. If she comes back, that is great. If she does not, you are still winning, because you did not put your life on pause for her. You continued to build your own value. That is the difference between men who stay attractive long-term and men who crumble the moment a relationship gets shaky. So, do not forget this. No matter what happens with her, you must always put your own duties to yourself first. Here is the reality. When a woman starts pulling away, most men panic. They become reactive, emotional, and begin to make all of the mistakes that quietly kill attraction. But the truth is, her pulling away does not always mean it is over. From a Stoic perspective, it is simply a test. It is a test of your confidence, your stability, and whether you are truly the kind of man who can stand solid even when a situation feels uncertain. The men who lose themselves in those moments, who chase harder, beg for reassurance, or place her on a pedestal, they end up proving her doubts right. But the men who remain grounded, who keep their focus on their own purpose, and who do not hand over their self-worth for her approval, those are the men she respects. Those are the men she reconsiders. And here is a thought that may sting a little, but it is a liberating one. If her interest is so fragile that it collapses the moment you stop chasing, then perhaps she was never truly invested in the first place. Sometimes, her pulling away is not about you failing a test. It is about her revealing the truth of where she stands. And that is powerful information you should pay attention to, not fight against. So my advice is to stop fearing her distance. Let her show you who she is, while you continue to show up as a man who knows his own value. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments, share a time you faced this test. What did you do and what was the outcome? Your story is a lesson for this entire community. If this guide has provided you with a new framework for strength, then like this video and share it with a man who needs to learn how to stand still when tested. And of course, subscribe to the Stoic Manhood Guide for more principles on building an unshakable core.